Imagine getting evicted, losing your savings overnight, and then finding out your ex is marrying an influencer whose father just happens to be the judge in your custody case. That's the trap Sophia Martinez wakes up to. Two toddlers on her hip, a court notice in her hand, and a stranger in a $1,000 suit offering help she doesn't trust. But here's the twist. Her ex isn't just cruel. He's running a playbook he's used on other women, and tonight's glittering wedding? It's a power grab. In the next minutes, you'll hear how a broke single mom walks into that ballroom in a caterer's uniform, wires herself up, and turns a humiliation into a takedown, sparking an investigation that reaches far beyond Miami. Who's really pulling the strings? Who's undercover? And what happens when the monster finally says the quiet part out loud? If you're hooked already, if tap, like so more people find this, drop a comment with your wildest prediction, share it with a friend who loves high-stakes drama, and hit subscribe so you don't miss the fallout. Let's dive in. Sophia Martinez gripped the steering wheel of her beat-up Honda Civic as the first rays of dawn painted the Miami skyline orange. Her phone buzzed with another ride request. 5:45 in the morning, and she was already on her third airport run. "Good morning," she said brightly, as a businessman slid into her back seat, though exhaustion pulled at every word. He grunted in response, already on his phone. Perfect. No small talk meant she could focus on staying awake. The twins had kept her up until 3. Emma's new tooth was coming in, and little James had caught his sister's cranky mood like it was contagious. She'd finally gotten them settled just 2 hours before her alarm went off for the morning driving shift. After dropping off the businessman, Sophia parked behind a strip mall and opened her laptop. 6:30 meant switching from Uber driver to virtual assistant. She logged into her clients' emails, scheduling meetings for executives who made more in an hour than she made in a month. Her fingers flew across the keyboard, answering messages in the polished, professional tone that used to be her actual voice back when she'd had a real marketing job, back when she'd been David Turner's wife. The thought slipped in before she could stop it, bringing the familiar ache. 2 years since the divorce. 2 years since he'd traded her in for someone younger, prettier, someone who hadn't just given birth to twins, someone who still looked good in the designer dresses he loved to show off. Her phone rang. The daycare. "Miss Martinez, James has a fever. You'll need to pick him up." Sophia's stomach dropped. "How high?" "101. Policy says, I know. I'll be there in 20 minutes. She slammed the laptop shut. There went her virtual assistant income for the day. Her clients didn't care about sick kids. They cared about answered emails and managed calendars. By the time she got both twins back to their cramped apartment, Sophia had lost $300 in potential income. She gave James children's Tylenol and settled him on the couch with his sister and their one working tablet, playing their favorite cartoon on repeat. A knock at the door made her jump. She wasn't expecting anyone. The man in the cheap suit looked bored. "Sophia Martinez?" "Yes." He handed her 2 envelopes. "You've been served." The first envelope was thick with legal documents. David was suing for full custody, claiming she was an unfit mother. Her hands shook as she read the allegations. Unstable living situation, inadequate child care, financial inability to provide. The second envelope was cream-colored. Expensive. She knew that letterhead. It was a wedding invitation. "David Turner and Clara Brooks request the honor of your presence." But it was the handwritten note that made her sink to the floor. "Come see what you lost. Maybe it'll motivate you to be better, for the kids' sake." Emma toddled over, patting Sophia's cheek with a sticky hand. "Mama sad?" Sophia pulled her daughter close, burying her face in the toddler's hair to hide her tears. "Mama's okay, baby. Mama's okay." But she wasn't. David had money for lawyers. She could barely afford groceries. He was getting married to an Instagram influencer with 1 million followers while she delivered food at night just to make rent. Her phone buzzed. Another notification from her banking app. Insufficient funds. The daycare payment had bounced. Then another alert, this one making her blood turn cold. The joint account she'd forgotten existed, the one with her mother's life insurance, money she'd been saving for emergencies, showed a zero balance. $50,000. Gone. With shaking fingers, she called the bank. The other account holder withdrew the funds yesterday, the representative said. David Turner? He's listed as... Sophia hung up. That money was supposed to be for lawyers, for fighting back, for protecting her kids. She looked at the wedding invitation again. 3 weeks away. 3 weeks to figure out how to save her children from a man who'd already taken everything else. The volunteering shift at Sacred Heart Food Bank was the only thing Sophia hadn't given up. It reminded her that others had it worse, and more practically, volunteers could take home leftover produce that would otherwise be thrown away. She sorted canned goods while the twins played in the church nursery next door, trying not to think about the custody papers, trying not to think about the empty bank account, trying not to think at all. You're doing it wrong. The voice was sharp, irritated. Sophia looked up to see a man in an expensive suit holding a box of donations, looking at her like she'd personally offended him. Excuse me? The cans. You're mixing vegetables with fruits. They go in separate sections. He set down his box harder than necessary. I've been volunteering here for 2 years, Sophia said evenly. I know how to sort cans. Clearly not. He reached past her, reorganizing her work. Martha, the food bank coordinator, hurried over. Mr. Hayes, so wonderful you could join us. Community service, right? The man's jaw tightened. Yes. DUI program? Martha continued cheerfully, oblivious to his discomfort. We get a lot of court-ordered volunteers. Don't worry, you'll get your hours signed off. Sophia almost laughed. The rich guy in the $1,000 shoes was here because he'd been caught driving drunk. And he was criticizing her can sorting. I'll work somewhere else, Hayes muttered. Nonsense. Sophia here can show you the ropes. She's one of our best. For the next hour, they worked in tense silence. Sophia noticed how his hands shook slightly, how he kept checking his phone, how he looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. Rough day? She finally asked. You could say that. Join the club. He glanced at her, really looking for the first time, taking in her exhausted eyes, her worn clothing, the way she kept checking the nursery door. Kids? Twins, 3 years old. That's a lot. She shrugged. You do what you have to. Their father? Getting married in 3 weeks to someone younger and richer. The words slipped out before she could stop them. Hayes went very still. And he left you with the kids? Left is a generous word. Abandoned is more accurate. I'm sorry. Don't be. I'm the lucky one. I got Emma and James. He got her. Sophia forced herself to focus on the cans. What about you? What's a guy in an Armani suit doing getting a DUI? It's Brioni, actually. At her blank look, he almost smiled. The suit. And I was self-medicating. Today's an anniversary I'd rather forget. Divorce? Death. My sister, 3 years ago today. The air between them shifted. I'm sorry, that was insensitive of me. She killed herself, Hayes continued, his voice flat. After her ex-husband humiliated her, very publicly, very deliberately, she couldn't handle the shame. Sophia's hands stilled on the cans. That's why I'm here, Hayes said. The date, I mean. Every year on this date, I try to forget. This year, I got caught. Mr. Hayes, Jonathan. He pulled out his phone, showing her a photo of a young woman who looked strikingly like him. Rebecca, she was 28, had her whole life ahead of her until Marcus convinced her she was nothing without him. Sophia's throat tightened. She knew that feeling too well. What was your husband's name? Jonathan asked suddenly. Ex-husband, David Turner. Jonathan's expression changed, something dark flickering across his features. David Turner of Turner Tech? You know him. We were business partners. Once, until he embezzled $2 million and destroyed my reputation to cover it up. Jonathan's laugh was bitter. Small world. Sophia's phone buzzed. Another text from David's lawyer. More threats, more demands. She deleted it without reading. He's suing for custody, she heard herself say. Full custody. Says I'm unfit, and I can't afford a lawyer because he drained my account yesterday. $50,000. Going. Jonathan was quiet for a long moment. Then, I could help you. I don't need charity. Not charity. Justice, he met her eyes. David Turner destroyed my sister's best friend too. Did you know that? Before you, there were others. Women who signed NDAs and disappeared. Sophia's blood chilled. What are you talking about? I'm talking about a pattern, a system, and maybe it's time someone stopped him. Before she could respond, the nursery door burst open. Mama! Emma ran over, James toddling behind. They crashed into her legs, giggling. Jonathan watched them, something soft crossing his face. They look like him. I know. Sophia lifted Emma onto her hip. It's the one good thing he gave me. Miss Martinez? Martha appeared with a clipboard. There's someone here with papers for you? Sophia's heart sank. More legal documents, more threats, but when she got to the door, it wasn't a process server. It was her landlord. 24-hour notice, he said, not meeting her eyes. You need to vacate. What? I paid rent? I have receipts. Lease violation. You've had unauthorized occupants. My children, they're on the lease. Not them. You've been running a daycare, 3 kids besides yours. That violates the residential use clause. I watched my neighbor's kids twice. For 2 hours, she had an emergency. 24 hours, Miss Martinez. I'm sorry. He walked away before she could protest further. Sophia stood frozen, holding her children, the eviction notice crumpling in her grip. Jonathan appeared beside her. Let me help. Why? Her voice broke. Why do you care? Because 3 years ago, I didn't help when I could have. And my sister died. He pulled out a business card. I'm not letting David Turner destroy another woman. Not on my watch. Sophia looked at the card. Jonathan Hayes, Hayes International. She'd heard of him. Everyone had. One of the richest men in Miami. I can't pay you back. I'm not asking you to. He knelt down to Emma's level. Hi there, I'm Jonathan. What's your name? Emma hid her face in Sophia's neck, but James stepped forward, offering his toy car. Car, James announced proudly. Jonathan accepted it gravely. That's a very nice car, thank you. But for the first time in 2 years, Sophia felt something she thought was dead. Hope. 24 hours to pack up a life. Sophia sat on her bedroom floor at 2 in the morning, surrounded by boxes, while the twins finally slept on a mattress in the corner. Everything they owned fit into 12 cardboard boxes and 3 suitcases. Jonathan had offered to put them in a hotel, but her pride wouldn't let her accept. Not yet. She'd found a shelter that had space for families. It would do for a few nights while she figured things out. Her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. Sophia Martinez? Yes? This is Carol from Child Protective Services. We received a report about children living in unsafe conditions. We need to conduct an immediate welfare check. The room spun. What? My children are fine. Who made this report? I can't disclose that. Are you at your residence? We're moving. The landlord gave us 24 hours. Moving where? Sophia's mouth went dry. She couldn't say a shelter. CPS would use that against her. A friend's place. We'll need that address. Someone will be by in the morning. After the call ended, Sophia's hands shook so badly she couldn't hold her phone. David. It had to be David. The eviction, now CPS. He was systematically destroying her life. By dawn, she had everything packed in her car. The twins were cranky, confused why they were leaving their home. She'd told them it was an adventure. Mama's good at adventures, she'd said, though she'd never felt less adventurous in her life. The car was packed so full she could barely see out the back window. She'd just loaded the last box when a black town car pulled up. Jonathan stepped out, taking in the scene. His expression darkened. A shelter? How did you... I had someone watching. For your safety. He moved closer. Sophia, this is exactly what he wants. You in a shelter when CPS shows up? They'll take your kids. I don't have a choice. You do. Come with me. Right now, I have a guest house. Fully furnished, separate entrance. Your own space. I can't. CPS is 10 minutes away. I know because I had someone check. You have 10 minutes to decide if your pride is worth more than your children. Emma started crying in her car seat, setting off James. The sound broke something in Sophia. Fine. The word came out as a sob. Fine. Jonathan immediately started transferring car seats to his vehicle. Leave your car. I'll have someone get it. The drive to his estate took 30 minutes. 30 minutes of the twins crying, of Sophia trying not to fall apart, of Jonathan making phone calls in rapid-fire legal speak she didn't understand. The guest house was bigger than her apartment. 3 bedrooms, a full kitchen, a yard that opened onto a garden. It was perfect. It was everything she couldn't provide. "This is temporary," she said as Jonathan helped carry in boxes. "Whatever you need it to be." Within an hour, CPS arrived. The caseworker, a tired-looking woman named Janet, walked through the space with a clipboard. "This is your residence?" Sophia hesitated. Jonathan smoothly intervened. "Miss Martinez is my tenant, month-to-month lease. I can provide documentation." Janet made notes. "And you are?" "Jonathan Hayes. I own the property." The way Janet's expression changed at his name would have been funny if Sophia wasn't terrified. The inspection was thorough but routine. Safe environment, food in the fridge. Jonathan had somehow had it stocked. Beds for everyone. Yard for playing. "Everything seems in order," Janet finally said. "Though I do need to ask about the initial report. It mentioned children living in a vehicle." "That's absolutely false," Jonathan said firmly. "As you can see, Ms. Martinez and her children have stable housing." After Janet left, Sophia collapsed on the couch. The twins were playing in the yard, fascinated by butterflies they'd never seen in their concrete apartment complex. "Why are you doing this?" she asked Jonathan. He pulled out his phone, showing her a photo, not of his sister this time, but of 2 women she didn't recognize. Sarah Collins and Monica Rodriguez. Both dated David Turner. Sarah was a surgeon. Monica was a lawyer. Both successful, independent women. Until David. What happened to them? Sarah lost her medical license after David planted drugs in her car and called in an anonymous tip. Monica was disbarred after confidential client information mysteriously appeared online from her computer. Both women had restraining orders against David by the end. Both signed NDAs in exchange for him dropping various lawsuits. Sophia felt sick. He's done this before. At least twice that I can prove. You're number 3, or you would be if we let him win. We? Jonathan sat beside her, careful to maintain distance. I've been investigating David for 3 years, ever since he destroyed my company and my sister's friend. I have files, evidence, but I need someone on the inside, someone he'll confess to. You want to use me? I want to help you. And if that helps me get justice for Rebecca and the others, then yes, we both win. Through the window, Sophia watched her children play. They looked so happy, so free. What would I have to do? Go to the wedding, wear a wire, get him talking. He's arrogant when he drinks. He'll brag about what he's doing to you. And if he doesn't, then we use what I already have and hope it's enough. Jonathan pulled out a folder. But Sophia, you need to know something. David's fiancée, Clara, her father is Judge Patricia Wells. Sophia's heart stopped. The judge in my custody case? The very same. It's all connected. The wedding isn't just a wedding. It's David solidifying his control over the family court system. The trap was bigger than she'd imagined, and she was caught right in the center of it. The twins had been sick for 3 days. What started as James's fever had become full-blown pneumonia for both children. Sophia hadn't left the hospital in 72 hours. Jonathan had been there for the first day, pacing the waiting room, making calls to get the best pediatric specialists. But then his ex-wife had shown up. Really, Jonathan? Catherine Hayes was everything Sophia wasn't. Tall, elegant, dripping in diamonds even at 7 in the morning. You're playing house with David Turner's ex? The newspapers are going to love this. Catherine, not now. Do you want to lose visiting rights with Lily? Because this is how you lose visiting rights. Harboring some woman involved in a custody battle, fresh off your DUI. I'm helping a friend. You don't have friends, you have projects. And this one, she looked at Sophia with undisguised contempt. This one is going to cost you everything. She'd left after delivering her threat, but the damage was done. Jonathan had retreated, saying he needed to handle some business. That was 2 days ago. Now Sophia sat alone beside her children's beds, watching machines help them breathe. The hospital bills were mounting. Even with Jonathan's help, she didn't know how she'd manage. Her phone rang, her mother. Mom, not now. Sophia, I'm at the hospital. Her mother's voice was strange, strained. Different hospital, Miami General. What? Why? Just some chest pains. It's nothing. Don't you dare leave those babies. I'm fine. But she wasn't fine. Sophia could hear it in her voice. Another call came through. David. I heard the twins are sick, he said, fake concern dripping from every word. Poor things. Probably from all the stress of their unstable living situation. They have pneumonia, David. Children get pneumonia. Do they? Or do neglected children get pneumonia? I'm sure the court will be interested to know they're hospitalized on your watch. You're really going to use our sick children against me? I'm going to use everything against you, Sophia, until you realize you can't win. Sign over custody now, and I'll make sure they get the best care. Fight me and watch them suffer. He hung up. Sophia stared at her phone, rage and despair warring in her chest. Emma stirred, whimpering. Mama, I'm here, baby. Mama's here. Hurts. I know it hurts. She held her daughter's hand, singing the lullabies she'd sung since they were born. The same one she'd sung the night David left. The same one she'd hummed while working 3 jobs. Their song. Their promise that no matter what, Mama would always be there. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. You're going to lose them, just like the others lost. Give up now and I might let you see them on weekends. D, then another. Your mom's heart attack wasn't random. Stress is dangerous at her age. Wonder what happens when she hears about you losing custody. Sophia's hands shook. Her mother had a heart attack. Her babies were in the hospital. And David was orchestrating all of it. Another text, this time from Jonathan. Catherine's threatening to expose my sister's suicide to the press if I keep helping you. I'm sorry, I need a few days to figure this out. She was alone, completely alone, except she wasn't. Bobby Thompson walked into the hospital room carrying coffee and a teddy bear for each twin. Her former boss, the one who'd warned her about David years ago. Heard you needed a friend, he said simply. Bobby, how did you... Small city, word travels. Plus, David's been bragging about destroying you at every business meeting. Man's lost his mind. He sat down, handing her the coffee. I also heard Hayes bailed on you. His ex-wife? Yeah, Catherine's a piece of work. But that's not your problem. Your problem is David. And lucky for you, I've been keeping tabs on him since he tried to steal my clients last year. Bobby pulled out his phone, showing her a video. It was David at a bar, drunk, talking to someone off camera. The beauty is, David was saying, she thinks it's about the kids. It's not. It's about winning. I don't even want the brats. Clara definitely doesn't. But Sophia needs to pay for embarrassing me with the divorce. So what's your plan? The off-camera voice asked. Judge Wells is Clara's dad. He'll give me custody. Then I'll ship them off to boarding school in Switzerland. Or military school. Whatever keeps them away from me. Sophia's rage crystallized into something cold and sharp. When was this recorded? Last night, my bartender friend at the Ritz. David's there every Thursday, drinks too much, runs his mouth. Would your friend testify? Better. He'd record again, with better audio. For the first time in days, Sophia felt the fog lifting. Bobby, why are you helping me? Because I should have helped sooner. When I saw him isolating you at the company, when he started the rumors about you being difficult to work with, I was a coward then. I'm not being one now. James stirred in his bed, crying softly. Bobby stood. I'll get the nurse. You rest. And Sophia, we're going to nail him. I promise you that. As Bobby left to find the nurse, Sophia's phone rang again. Jonathan. I handled Catherine, he said without preamble. She backed down when I reminded her about the prenup clause regarding defamation. I'm sorry I left. It won't happen again. It's fine. No, it's not. But I'm going to make it right. The wedding is in 3 days. Are you still in? Sophia looked at her sick children, thought of her mother in another hospital, thought of all the women David had destroyed before her. I'm in, but we do this my way. What do you mean? I mean, I'm not going to that wedding as the pathetic ex-wife. I'm going as the woman who's about to destroy David Turner. The Riverside Country Club gleamed in the afternoon sun, every surface polished to perfection for David Turner's wedding to Clara Brooks. 400 guests, a string quartet, and enough flowers to stock a botanical garden. the perfect setting for what David planned as his ultimate triumph. Sophia stood in the service entrance, dressed as catering staff. Black pants, white shirt, hair pulled back. Invisible, exactly as planned. Testing, testing. Bobby's voice came through her earpiece. He was in a van outside with recording equipment. Clear, she whispered back. Jonathan was already inside, invited as a prominent businessman. They'd decided he shouldn't be seen with her, maintaining the illusion that she was alone and desperate. The past 3 days had been a whirlwind. The twins had recovered enough to leave the hospital, though they were still weak. Her mother was stable but needed surgery she couldn't afford. And Sophia had practiced her role over and over with Bobby and Jonathan. Get David alone, get him drinking, get him talking. She picked up a tray of champagne and entered the main ballroom. The guests were already mingling, diamonds glittering, deals being made between sips of Dom Perignon. Then she saw him. David stood near the windows, laughing with a group of investors. He looked exactly the same. Perfectly styled hair, custom tucks, that smile that had once made her feel safe and now made her skin crawl. Clara was across the room holding court with her influencer friends, live streaming parts of the preparation. Judge Patricia Wells stood near the bar, and something about the way she watched David made Sophia pause. It wasn't a fond look. It was calculating. Champagne, sir? Sophia kept her voice steady as she approached David's group. David took a glass without looking at her. Perfect. She moved through the room, serving drinks, listening to conversations. Waiting. An hour into the reception, David was on his fourth scotch. Clara was busy with photographers. Judge Wells had disappeared somewhere. Now, Bobby said in her ear. Sophia made her way to David's study. She knew this venue, had helped plan corporate events here in her marketing days. David would retreat here to check his phone, make deals, escape Clara's endless selfies. She waited. Sure enough, 20 minutes later, David entered alone, phone pressed to his ear. I don't care what the contracts say, he was barking at someone. Make it happen, or you're fired. He ended the call, poured himself another scotch from his private stash. That's when Sophia stepped out from behind the door. David's face went white, then red. What the hell are you doing here? Working. She gestured to her uniform. Some of us have to. Get out before I have security. Security throw out the woman whose children are in the hospital while you're getting married? The optics would be terrible. David's eyes narrowed. What do you want, Sophia? To understand. Why destroy me? You got everything in the divorce. The house, the savings, the business. Why come after the kids? He laughed, the sound ugly. Because you embarrassed me. Poor little Sophia playing the victim, making me look like the bad guy. You left me while I was pregnant. You got boring and fat, and all you talked about was babies. He took another drink. Clara understands. Marriage is business. Kids are accessories. You never got that. So you're taking them to what? Prove a point? I'm taking them because I can. Because Judge Wells will give them to me, and you'll have to live with that failure forever. Clara's father is helping you. David grinned, that cruel smile she'd once mistaken for confidence. Clara's father hates her. Can't stand that his daughter is an Instagram joke. But she's useful. This marriage gives him leverage over me, and I get whatever I want in his courtroom, including my children, especially your children. Though honestly, he leaned closer, scotch heavy on his breath, I'll probably ship them off somewhere, military school, boarding school in Europe, wherever I don't have to see them. Sophia's hands clenched, but she forced herself to stay calm. Like you did with Sarah Collins' son, or Monica Rodriguez's daughter? David went very still. How do you know those names? I know a lot of things, David. I know about the planted drugs, the leaked files, the NDAs. You don't know anything. And even if you did, no one would believe you. You're nobody. A single mother who can't even keep a roof over her kids' heads. Is that what you told them? Sarah and Monica? David's face twisted. They thought they were so smart, so independent, just like you. But I showed them. Nobody leaves David Turner and wins. Why do you need to destroy women who leave you? Because you're all the same. The words exploded out of him. My mother, leaving my father for some yoga instructor when I was 10, acting like she was better than us, than every woman after, thinking they could do better, be better. Well, I show them what happens when they try to leave. The confession hung in the air. Sophia could feel Bobby's excitement through the earpiece. They had him, but David wasn't done. The scotch and rage had loosened his tongue completely. You know what the best part is? After I get custody, I'm going to tell them you abandoned them, just like my mother abandoned me. They'll grow up hating you. You're sick. I'm winning. And after today, after I marry into the Wells family, I'll be untouchable. Clara's too stupid to realize she's just a stepping stone. Once I have what I need, she'll get the same treatment you did. The door burst open. Clara stood there, her face a mask of fury. You bastard, she hissed. David tried to recover. Baby, I was just... Shut up, just shut up. Clara turned to Sophia. How much did you get? Sophia was confused for a moment, then understanding dawned. You knew? I'm not an Instagram influencer, Clara said, pulling out a badge. I'm FBI. We've been investigating David for 2 years. Financial crimes, witness tampering, and now conspiracy to commit custody fraud. David's mouth opened and closed like a fish. My father isn't helping you, Clara continued. He's been documenting every bribe attempt, every threat. You're done, David. This is entrapment. This is justice, Clara spoke into her phone. We have enough. Move in. Through the window, Sophia could see FBI agents entering the building. Guests were scattering, confused, frightened. David lunged for Sophia. You did this. You ruined everything. Jonathan appeared, pulling David back. No, David, you did this to yourself. As the agents cuffed David, he started screaming. I'll destroy all of you. You can't do this to me. I have rights. I have money. You have the right to remain silent, the agent said, reading him as Miranda rights. As they led David away, Clara turned to Sophia. I'm sorry for the deception. We needed someone he'd confess to, someone he'd underestimated. You used me too. No, we gave you the opportunity to save yourself. There's a difference. Judge Wells appeared, and Sophia tensed. Ms. Martinez, the judge said formally, in light of today's events, the custody case will be dismissed. Full custody will remain with you. Sophia's knees nearly buckled. Thank you. Don't thank me. Thank yourself. You fought when everyone expected you to break. The courthouse steps were crowded with reporters 6 months later. Sophia stood between Bobby Thompson and Jonathan Hayes, watching David being led away in shackles. 25 years for racketeering, fraud, and conspiracy. The other women he'd hurt had come forward, their NDAs void in the face of criminal prosecution. How do you feel? A reporter shouted at Sophia. Free, she said simply. The twins were with her mother, who'd recovered fully once the stress of David's threats was gone. Jonathan had paid for her surgery, a loan he insisted, though they both knew Sophia would never be able to repay it. That was okay. Some debts weren't meant to be repaid. They were meant to be passed forward. Coffee? Jonathan asked as they walked away from the courthouse. Can't. I have a meeting. New job? New venture. Sophia pulled out a business card. Martinez Legal Aid, for women in custody battles who can't afford proper representation. Jonathan smiled. Need an investor? Need a partner, someone who understands that justice isn't just about winning. It's about making sure no one else loses the way we almost did. They walked toward the parking lot where Bobby waited by his car. He'd hired Sophia part-time at his firm while she built her nonprofit, giving her the flexibility she needed for the twins. You know, Bobby said, David's mother wants to see the kids. Sophia stiffened, the woman who'd raised David, who'd created the monster he became. She's been in therapy, Bobby continued, trying to understand what went wrong. She wants to apologize. I'll think about it. As they reached the cars, Jonathan touched her arm gently. Sophia, I need to tell you something. She waited. I'm going back to rehab, voluntary this time. My drinking, it's not under control, and I can't help anyone else until I help myself. How long? 90 days minimum, maybe longer. Sophia nodded. I'll be here when you get back. As a friend? As whatever we're meant to be. We have time to figure it out. Jonathan kissed her forehead, a gentle, respectful gesture. You're the strongest person I know. No, Sophia said, I'm just a mother, and mothers don't break. We bend, we crack, but we don't break. Not when our children need us. The Martinez legal aid office was tiny, just 3 rooms in a strip mall between a nail salon and a tax preparer. But to the women who walked through its doors, it was a lifeline. Sophia looked up from her desk as her newest client entered. Maria Gonzalez, 26, holding a baby, bruise fading on her cheek. He says he'll take my daughter if I leave, Maria whispered. That's what they all say, Sophia replied gently. Let me tell you what we're going to do. For the next hour, Sophia laid out a plan. Emergency restraining order, custody filing, safe house arrangements, pro bono attorney from our growing network. Why are you helping me? Maria asked. I can't pay much. Because someone helped me when I couldn't pay anything. And someday, when you're safe and stable, you'll help someone else. That's how we win. After Maria left, Sophia checked her phone. A text from Jonathan, now 60 days into rehab. The twins' birthday's next week. Can I send something? She smiled, typing back. They'd love that. Emma wants a dinosaur, James wants a rocket ship. Dinosaur rocket ship it is. Bobby knocked on her door. Your 3 o'clock is here. Also, there's someone else. Says she's David's mother. Sophia's stomach clenched. She'd been avoiding this for months. Send her in. Barbara Turner looked nothing like Sophia had expected. Small, fragile, haunted. She clutched a worn envelope. I won't take much of your time, Barbara said. I needed to apologize for what I created, for what he became. It's not your fault. It is. I left his father badly, selfishly. I made David my emotional support, told him all men were monsters, then married one who proved me right. I taught him that women were either saints or villains, nothing in between. Barbara placed the envelope on Sophia's desk. These are bonds for the twins' college. It's all I have left, but it's theirs. David won't need it where he's going. Mrs. Turner, please, let me do this one thing right. She stood to leave, then paused. Take care of them. Love them, but also teach them to be whole people, not just reactions to their pain. I failed at that. Don't fail like I did. After Barbara left, Sophia opened the envelope. $200,000 in bonds, enough to secure the twins' future education. Her phone rang. Clara Brooks, or rather, Agent Clara Mendez, her real name. Sophia, we just arrested another one. Guy in Seattle using David's exact playbook. Your testimony from David's case is going to help put him away too. Good. There's something else. We're creating a task force. Domestic financial abuse. We need a civilian consultant. Someone who understands the patterns from the inside. Interested? Sophia looked around her tiny office at the stack of case files growing daily, at the photo of her twins on her desk. Can I do it part-time? I have a nonprofit to run. We'll work around your schedule. This is important work, Sophia. You're saving lives. We're saving lives, Sophia corrected. All of us together. 1 year after David's conviction, Sophia stood in the same ballroom where his wedding was supposed to happen. But tonight it was transformed for a different purpose. The first annual fundraiser for Martinez Legal Aid. The room was full, but not with the same crowd that had come to see David's spectacle. These were survivors, advocates, lawyers who believed in justice over profit, and donors who understood that sometimes the most important battles were fought in the family court. Mama, can I have juice? Emma tugged at her dress. Of course, baby. Sophia signaled to a waiter who brought over apple juice in a champagne flute for the 4-year-old. James was with Jonathan near the dessert table, carefully counting cookies with the intense concentration of someone learning their numbers. Jonathan had been out of rehab for 6 months, still taking it one day at a time. They weren't together, not romantically, not yet, maybe not ever, but they were something maybe more important, partners in purpose. Ready for your speech? Bobby asked, appearing at her elbow. As chairman of the board for Martinez Legal Aid, he'd been instrumental in making tonight happen. Terrified. Good, means it matters. Sophia took the stage, looking out at the crowd. She spotted Sarah Collins and Monica Rodriguez at a table together, both now advocates in their own right. Judge Patricia Wells was there too, having become an unexpected ally in reforming family court procedures. 2 years ago, Sophia began, I stood in a very different version of this room. I was supposed to be humiliated, destroyed, erased. My ex-husband had invited me to his wedding specifically to show the world I was nothing. The room was silent, attentive. He was right about one thing: I was broken, working 3 jobs, fighting for custody, sleeping in my car with my babies. But he was wrong about the most important thing. Being broken doesn't mean you're nothing. Sometimes it means you're about to become everything you were meant to be. She found Jonathan's eyes in the crowd. He raised his glass slightly, a silent salute. Today, Martinez Legal Aid has helped 57 women keep custody of their children. We've exposed 11 cases of financial abuse. We've changed 3 state laws about hidden assets in divorce proceedings. And we're just getting started. Applause rippled through the room. But I want to be clear about something, Sophia continued. This isn't a story about a woman being saved by a billionaire. Jonathan Hayes gave me resources, yes, but resources without resilience are just temporary band-aids. Every woman we help has that resilience. Sometimes they just need someone to remind them. She looked at Maria Gonzalez, now 6 months free from her abuser, volunteering as a translator for the organization. We don't save women here. We stand with them while they save themselves. We provide tools, not rescue, support, not salvation, because the strength was always there. It just got buried under someone else's cruelty. The speech continued for 10 more minutes, outlining their plans, their needs, their vision for a world where no woman had to choose between poverty and custody. As she left the stage, Sophia was surrounded by supporters, donors, well-wishers. Through the crowd, she saw someone unexpected. Barbara Turner stood near the back, tears on her face. She nodded once at Sophia, permission, understanding, perhaps forgiveness, then slipped out quietly. Later, as the evening wound down, Sophia stood on the balcony with Jonathan, watching the twins play with other children in the garden below. "You did it," he said quietly. "We did it." "No, this was you, Sophia. I just provided money. You provided the heart." "Your sister would be proud." Jonathan's voice caught. "I think she would." They stood in comfortable silence. 2 damaged people who'd found purpose in their pain. "The FBI wants me to go to Chicago," Sophia said. "There's a case there, a whole network of men using the same playbook David did." "Will you go?" "For consultation. 2 weeks. Bobby will watch the office and Mom will take the twins." "And when you get back?" Sophia turned to look at Ian. "When I get back, maybe we could have dinner. A real dinner, not a strategy meeting or a fundraiser, just dinner." Jonathan's smile was soft, hopeful. "I'd like that." "Just dinner," Sophia repeated. "We take everything else slow. Figure out if we're meant to be more than friends fighting the same fight." "As slow as you need." Emma's laughter floated up from the garden. "Mama, look, I can do a cartwheel." Sophia leaned over the balcony. "Beautiful, baby. Be careful." This was her life now. Not perfect, not easy, but hers. Built from the ashes of what David had tried to burn down. Stronger because it had been broken. Beautiful because it had been ugly first. The Chicago case was worse than Sophia had imagined. Not one man but 12, all connected through a private forum where they shared tactics for destroying their ex-wives. The Prometheus group, they called themselves, after the god who stole fire. Except they weren't stealing fire. They were burning women's lives to the ground. Sophia sat in the FBI field office, surrounded by evidence boxes, testimony transcripts, and pattern analyses that made her stomach turn. This one, Agent Mendez pointed to a file, convinced a judge his ex-wife was schizophrenic, had a psychiatrist friend write a false evaluation. She lost her kids and her job as a teacher. And this one, another agent added, drained his ex's parents' retirement accounts. They'd co-signed a business loan years earlier. He called it in during the divorce. Sophia studied the patterns, the tactics, the step-by-step destruction these men orchestrated. It was David multiplied by 12, systematized, weaponized. "We need inside information," Mendez said. "Someone in their circle who'll turn." "What about the newest member?" Sophia suggested. pointing to a name. Ryan Walsh. He just joined 3 months ago. His divorce isn't final yet. His wife won't cooperate, too scared. Let me talk to her. They met at a coffee shop in Lincoln Park. Jennifer Walsh looked like Sophia had 2 years ago. Exhausted, terrified, running on empty. He'll destroy me if I help you, Jennifer said immediately. He'll destroy you anyway. That's what they do. You don't understand. He has videos, photos, from when we were happy when I trusted him. He'll release them. Revenge porn is a felony in Illinois. We can protect you. Can you protect my daughter from seeing them? She's 14. Middle school's hard enough. Sophia leaned forward. Jennifer, I'm not going to lie to you. This will be hard, brutal even. But the alternative is worse. The alternative is your daughter growing up watching her mother disappear piece by piece. Jennifer's hands shook around her coffee cup. How did you do it? How did you survive? I almost didn't. But then I realized something. They want us to fight alone. That's when we're weakest. But together we're unstoppable. It took 3 hours, but Jennifer agreed. She'd wear a wire to the next dinner with Ryan and his Prometheus friends. The recording was damning. 12 men laughing about destroying women like it was a sport, comparing tactics, keeping score. The key, Ryan's voice on the tape, is to make them think they're crazy first, gaslight them for months. Then when you file, everyone already thinks they're unstable. That's why the journal is important, another voice added. Document every concerning behavior. Make shit up if you have to. Judges eat that stuff up. By the end of the week, all 12 men were in custody. The news broke nationally. The Prometheus group became synonymous with calculated domestic abuse. Sophia testified before a congressional committee via video link from Chicago. These aren't isolated incidents, she told the senators. This is organized crime. It's just that the crime is destroying women's lives instead of selling drugs or running guns. We need federal legislation. We need task forces. We need to treat financial abuse in custody battles as the serious crime it is. On her last night in Chicago, Sophia got a call from Jonathan. I saw your testimony. You were brilliant. I was terrified. That too, both can be true. How are the twins? Your mom sent me a video. They're teaching her the dinosaur song from school. She looks ready to surrender. Sophia laughed, the first real laugh she'd had all week. Sophia, Jonathan's voice grew serious. I know you said slow, but I need to tell you something. Jonathan, I love you. Not as a project, not as someone to save or be saved by. I love your strength and your stubbornness and the way you fight for people who can't fight for themselves. I love that you are in Chicago right now, taking down a crime ring instead of here having that dinner we planned. Sophia's throat tightened. You don't have to say it back, he continued. You don't have to feel it back. I just needed you to know. When you're ready, if you're ever ready, I'll be here. And if you're never ready, I'll still be here as your friend, your partner in this work, because that matters more than anything else. Jonathan, come home safe, Sophia. The twins need you. The work needs you. And whether you believe it or not, you deserve every good thing that's finally coming your way. He hung up before she could respond. Sophia stood at her hotel window, looking out at the Chicago skyline. 2 years ago, she'd been broken. Now she was helping break up a nationwide abuse ring. 2 years ago, she'd been alone. Now she had a community, a purpose, a man who loved her without conditions. 2 years ago, she'd thought her story was ending. Now she knew it had just begun. The Miami airport was crowded, but Sophia spotted them immediately. Emma and James broke free from their grandmother's hands, racing toward her with shrieks of, Mama! Mama! She dropped her bags, catching them both, breathing in their little kid smell of juice boxes and playground dirt. Did you catch the bad guys? James asked seriously. We did, baby. All of them? All of them from that group. But there are more out there. Emma's face scrunched up. Then you have to catch them too. That's the plan. Her mother hugged her next, whispering, Jonathan's been by every day. Just checking on the twins, he says. That man's got it bad. Mom, I'm just saying, your father was many things, but he never looked at me the way that man looks at you. They drove home, not to the guest house, but to the small apartment Sophia had rented 6 months ago. Her own space, earned with her own money. It wasn't fancy, but it was theirs. Jonathan's car was in the parking lot. He stood by her door holding grocery bags. Figured you'd be too tired to cook. I brought dinner. Jonathan, just as friends. The kids need to eat. But as she unlocked the door, as the twins dragged Jonathan inside to show him their new drawings, as her mother knowingly excused herself, Sophia felt the last of her walls crumbling. They made spaghetti together, the twins helping by sneaking bites of cheese. It felt dangerously domestic, dangerously normal, dangerously like a family. After dinner, after the twins were asleep, they sat on her tiny balcony overlooking the parking lot. This isn't how I imagined my life, Sophia said. Better or worse than imagined. Different, harder, but more honest. That's all any of us can hope for. An honest life. Sophia turned to face him. I'm not ready for grand gestures or big promises. I'm not offering any. But maybe we could try. Slowly, dating like normal people, if we even remember how to be normal. Jonathan's smile lit up the darkness. I'd like that. Though fair warning, I haven't been on a real date in 5 years. I haven't been on one in 7. We'll be disasters. Probably. They sat quietly, comfortable in their imperfection, in their damaged but healing selves. Sophia's phone buzzed. Agent Mendez. Sorry to interrupt your evening. We just got word. The Prometheus prosecutions are moving forward. All 12 plea deals rejected. We're going to trial. We'll need you to testify. I'll be there. Also, 3 more groups have been identified. Portland, Boston, and Dallas. This is bigger than we thought. After she hung up, Jonathan asked, more work? Always more work. Good. The work matters. It does, but this matters too. She gestured between them, at the quiet evening, at the normal life she was trying to build alongside the crusade. A cry came from inside. Emma having a nightmare. Sophia stood, but Jonathan touched her hand. Let me? She nodded, watching through the glass door as he went to her daughter, sitting on the bed, his low voice soothing until Emma settled back to sleep. This was what David had never understood. Love wasn't possession or control or winning. It was showing up again and again, especially when it wasn't grand or glorious. When Jonathan came back out, Sophia made a decision. Stay, she said. On the couch, it's late, and you've been drinking coffee, not wine, because you're still in recovery and you're responsible. So stay. Sophia, just sleep. Tomorrow maybe we have breakfast, like normal people, and then maybe next week we have that dinner we keep talking about. Jonathan nodded. I'd like that. As she got him pillows and a blanket, Sophia thought about circles, how life wasn't a straight line from broken to healed, from victim to victor. It was circles, spirals, returning to the same points but from different heights. 2 years ago, a man had tried to destroy her at his wedding. Now she was destroying the systems that let men like him thrive. 2 years ago, she'd been alone with her babies, fighting just to survive. Now she had a community, a purpose, and maybe, just maybe, a chance at love that wasn't about rescue, but about partnership. The fairy tale she'd believed in as a girl was dead, but what stood in its place was better, real, complicated, difficult, and hers. Emma cried out again. This time Sophia went, gathering her daughter close. Bad dream, Mama. Tell me about it. There was a monster. He was trying to take our house. Sophia held her tighter. Did he get it? No, you stopped him. You and Mr. Jonathan and Grandma and Uncle Bobby, you all stood in front of the door and the monster got scared and ran away. That's right, baby. Monsters are scared of families. They're scared when people stand together. Emma settled back to sleep, and Sophia returned to the living room where Jonathan was already asleep on the couch, exhausted from his own battles with recovery. She covered him better with the blanket, then went to her own room. Tomorrow the work would continue. More women to help, more systems to challenge, more monsters to face. But tonight her children were safe. Her mother was healthy. A good man slept on her couch, not as her savior, but as her equal. And she, Sophia Martinez, was no longer defined by what had been done to her, but by what she chose to do next. The wedding meant to humiliate her had become her origin story. The trap meant to destroy her had become her launching pad, and the man who tried to erase her had only succeeded in revealing who she'd always been. Unbreakable, unstoppable, and finally, fully free. Outside, Miami slept. But in apartments and houses across the city, women were reading about the Prometheus group arrests. They were finding Martinez legal aid online. They were realizing they weren't alone. The revolution wasn't loud or violent. It was quiet, persistent, one woman helping another, then another, then another. It was Sophia's story multiplied by thousands, millions, each woman refusing to disappear, refusing to break, refusing to let their children grow up in a world where fathers could weaponize the courts against mothers. David Turner was in prison. His 12 disciples in Chicago would join him soon. But Sophia's work was just beginning. And for the first time in her life, she was exactly where she was meant to be. Not saved, not rescued, not delivered by a billionaire on a white horse. Simply standing, fighting, winning, one impossible day at a time. The twins would grow up knowing their mother had been knocked down and got back up. They'd know that strength wasn't about never falling, but about always rising. They'd know that sometimes the princess saves herself, and then she saves everyone else too. That was the real fairy tale, the one that was true.